That was definitely not the way anybody expected this fight to go, and Arnold Allen definitely did not want to win like that. He becomes the first fighter to technically finish Kelvin Kattar in the UFC, but it was because of an injury that Kelvin Kattar inflicted on himself by trying to throw a flying knee in an attempt to intercept Arnold Allen's movement. And we do have to give a lot of credit to Allen's footwork because he evaded almost everything Kelvin was throwing at him, and it included that flying knee. So it wasn't just like Kelvin threw the flying knee and just happened to miss. It was kind of a bad angle for Kelvin to throw it. Allen is moving very rapidly in a lateral line, and it's going to be very hard to intercept someone with a flying knee when they're doing that because it's a linear attack trying to catch someone moving laterally. You have to be pinpoint accurate like a sniper to hit something like that. And Kelvin was just way off. He missed by a mile as Allen moved around, and he moved so fast, you could definitely see where Kelvin turned to look at Allen, and he's all the way far on his left side. And I believe him turning to look at Allen also impacted the knee even more. You can also look at the way that he planted his foot when he threw the flying knee. His right foot was completely angled out to the right side. His body is looking to the left side, and I think all of this together had too much torque on his knee. So at the end of the day, it was kind of a freak accident. It probably wasn't a strike that Kattar should have thrown at that moment. And also, we do have to give credit to Arnold Allen's footwork skills, and he had killer instinct. Even though he knew Kattar was hurt, he was going in there to finish the fight. Kicked out the leg in the second round, didn't waste any time to get this win. Now, people are probably asking you, was there anything that could have contributed to the injury besides just Kelvin landing wrong? Not really, no. There weren't any leg kicks that landed there or Kattar landing wrong in any moment. It was all exactly when he threw the flying knee. That's where the whole injury happened. But Arnold Allen didn't just avoid the flying knee. He avoided almost everything. He was able to move away from so many strikes from Kelvin merely with his footwork, bouncing back away from Kelvin's long right straight, sidestepping and parrying away his front kick, also doing the same thing to Kelvin's jab and his right cross. Many times throughout the fight, Arnold Allen was on this lateral movement while Kelvin was just trying to attack him with linear attacks. Jabs, right straights, and front kicks, where intercepting looping punches can be the solution to Arnold Allen's movement, not only to hit him with it and cause as much damage as possible, but just to scare that movement a bit. If you keep moving out laterally, you're going to run into one of my hooks, and it's going to force Arnold to eventually attack on the center line or be a lot more reluctant on moving so much laterally. But here's an issue with all this. Allen was tagging Kelvin on that straight line the whole time, especially before the injury. He was landing left hand after left hand down the pipe, and notice his form and hand position. Minimal telegraph in the left. It was almost undetectable. There was no windup, no cockback, no big movement for Kattar to see that he was going to throw a left straight. And that is why, as masterful of a boxer Kelvin is, he wasn't able to see that left straight because there was no telegraph. Allen was extending it from his stance straight forward. There was no back movement at all. When it came to his body, when it came to his hand, nothing. Everything was just straight to the target. And yes, you're going to eliminate some power that you can generate, but you don't need it. If you could just land the punch doing this, that's really enough. And with his hand position, notice how he kept his hand still all the way until he touched the target. That's what you're always taught in boxing. A lot of MMA fighters tend to not do this. His hand is palm inward up until he reaches Kelvin Kattar's head. And even when he touches Kattar with the left straight, it's still not fully rotated into a fundamental boxing left straight. He's throwing that left straight like he keeps it in his stance. And it's going to be very difficult for Kelvin to ever react to this. That's why 3 left straights in a row were able to land with almost the same exact form. Usually someone as good of a boxer as Kelvin is going to be able to pick up on the same attack you throw 3 times in a row. But because he wasn't able to react to this that well, it really showed Allen's boxing skills have gone to another level. And not only that, there was a speed difference between the two fighters, not only with the footwork but the punches. There was one moment at 1 minute and 49 seconds of that first round where they both throw their power hands at the exact same time. And Allen lands first. Now the reason why he was able to land first is because the form of their punches were completely different. Allen is in tight with his shoulder and his elbow, whereas Kelvin is flaring his elbow out there and he's reaching in with his shoulder a lot more than Allen is. This showed to me that in this fight, Arnold Allen had better form with his punches than Kelvin did. And that is impressive because Arnold was never known to be some great boxer, but something happened in the last year and a half where this guy's striking has just hit another level to the point where he was able to take advantages and look better in the boxing than one of the best boxers in the UFC. And it didn't only come with the form of his punches, with the speed difference and the fundamental discipline that Allen has garnered over the years, but also the ability to trap Kelvin and predict his next movement so he can land a follow-up attack. For an example right here, he throws a left straight down the center, but this time he does flare his elbow out a little bit, and that little bit of movement was enough for Kelvin to see the punch coming. That gives Allen way more credit for what he was doing later in the round, where Kelvin could not even address the punch anymore. He couldn't react to it anymore. Merely because of an elbow flare out, Kelvin was able to avoid that left straight. But it didn't really matter to Arnold Allen. He does overextend a little bit. He does reach in there. As you can see, his back foot does cause himself to be parallel. He brings it forward. But this is merely a trap. This linear path that Allen attacked on is going to fill in a bit of that left space, the right space of Kelvin's perspective. So it's going to cause Kelvin to want to move out on the open space where there is nothing cutting him off. That is his left. And Arnold Allen knows this. The fact that he threw this left straight down the center line is going to condition Kelvin to close in his guard on the center to get prepared for another left straight, instinctively that is. When you close in the guard on the center, you're opening it up on the sides, and that's where Allen knows where his next punch is going to land. And Kelvin makes the big mistake of crossing his feet. This is very easy to miss due to the camera angle. That is a big no-no, especially going up against probably one of the best movers in the whole featherweight division. He tracked him down so quickly, and because Kelvin crosses feet, it's easier for Allen to get that outside foot angle and ultimately reaches forward down the center with his right hand to condition Kelvin even more to guard that center, and it opens up his guard on the side for Allen to hit him with his left hook. Beautiful work by Arnold Allen right here. And pretty much that's it. I mean, it was a very short fight, not too much happened, but everything that Allen displayed here, it shows he's clearly a better fighter than he's ever been before. He is so much better than he was like 2 to 3 years ago. It's insane. In a lot of areas, especially his striking, he does not even look like the same guy. And it was always a bit worrying because he was very inactive in his career. He would take like a year off sometimes, but we know now for sure he wasn't doing nothing. The guy's been training consistently, disciplining himself, getting the fundamentals down, and backed up behind his footwork and his overall well-rounded skill. Arnold Allen is a problem for a lot of these guys in this division. He is such a problem. So what's next for both these guys? Kelvin's going to be out probably for a long time. It looked like he blew something out, maybe some ligament, some tendon. Hopefully it's not an ACL tear, because he might be out for at least a year if that's the case. And I feel bad for the guy because his fight with Josh Emmett was very close. A lot of people thought that he won that fight, and now for this to happen to him. Hopefully Kelvin Kattar is able to come back stronger than ever and keep a positive mindset. But the issue about it is, if we look at it realistically, the guy's 34 years old right now. He's going to be 35 in March, which means there's a likely chance we don't see him back until he's like 36 almost. And a 36-year-old featherweight generally doesn't do too well, especially coming off a layoff and an injury. I really hope the best for Kelvin Kattar. I want to see him back better than ever. And as for Arnold Allen, I think the best fight for Arnold is Max Holloway for sure, and I would love to see that fight in London. They're having that London card in March. You guys corrected me on that in the last video. The card headlined by Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman, Max versus Arnold Allen as a co-main event would be perfect for that card. And if Allen were to win that fight, given that if Volk is going to fight Islam in the meantime, he should get a title shot right afterward. It's a tall order though, man. Max is a tough customer, and I'm very curious to see if anybody other than Volkanovski can beat him. Yair had a good performance against him, and Allen's another young fighter that came up. We'll see if his well-rounded skill set with that elite level of movement is enough to get past Max. So I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown, and if you did, make sure to give this a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.